College World Series matchups are set. The double elimination tournaments begin on Friday in Omaha. Arizona will take on Coastal Carolina. Louisville facing Oregon State. Murray State coming off a thrilling win over Duke to clinch their first ever spot in the College World Series. They will face UCLA. It's an all-SEC showdown also between LSU and Arkansas. All right, let's welcome in our CBS Sports College baseball analyst, national college football reporter for baseball. We have Jacob Rudner and David Neal. Dave, I got to ask, the first time since 1957, no team returning to Omaha from the previous year. Does that shock and surprise you?
A little bit, Jenny. I mean, let's face it, last year dominated by two conferences, the power conferences when it comes to baseball, the ACC and the SEC, and he thought that was going to be the trend. But I'll be honest that I think this is much more enjoyable this way. You've got the country covered. You got three teams from out west, three teams that were in the Pac-12 just a year ago, although that's been all split up. But I think it's really from a national perspective. I think this might be more entertaining. Don't think Coastal Carolina should be one of those surprise type teams. Obviously, they've been really good for a while, but the Murray State thing certainly gives you that underdog feeling for this trip to Omaha. So I like this bunch. I think it's just kind of I think it's a better potpourri of teams, of college baseball teams. So I like it.
I would say that I like it as well. I would add it is, though, very surprising to me. You look at the bid distribution this year, and it definitely didn't stack up in a way that I think would have resulted in a field where we had no repeat teams from last year. The fewest bids to mid-major teams on the at-large level since 1999 when the NCAA expanded the field to the super regional format. This was not a good year for the mid-major, and so I thought that there was a definite skew towards these power teams that maybe had a better track to getting to the College World Series. We've seen the Murray States of the world now pull off these huge upsets, but I would look across the rest of the field, and there are some other unexpected ones in there. I don't know that I would have told you that Arizona was going to get to the College World Series about a month ago. The same can go for Louisville. UCLA wasn't ranked in the preseason polls almost anywhere. Neither was Coastal Carolina, which was picked by Sun Belt coaches to finish 4th in the conference. So this is a surprising field. I think that was reflected on Selection Monday, but it is a great field as well. It's exciting.
I love the potpourri of teams. I feel like that's a perfect way to describe it. And we all love a good Cinderella story. So Murray State, I'm rooting for you there. Now, following Monday's result, we learned that UCLA will be facing that team that we were just talking about in Murray State. First ever appearance in the College World Series. How do you like their chances against the Bruins? Like I said, we love a Cinderella story, but did they have what it takes to get past the Bruins? Dave, your take.
First of all, Murray State is a Cinderella. Let's not overlook that part of it. But this is a team that played really well this year. They ran the same lineup out pretty much every single game. Their top 8 position players, if you take their numbers alone, they hit like 315 as a group. They hit almost 70 home runs as a group. This is a team that certainly can hit with anybody. They proved that in the Oxford Regional and did it again this past weekend versus Duke. But I think that their pitching is a question to me that's got to hold up. UCLA, on the other hand, John Savage, what a turnaround for these guys. I mean, they won 19 games a year ago, and here they are at 47-16. The transfer portal was good to those guys. They've got some really, really good talent. I think the biggest question for me and for Murray State, if they can continue, do they have the quality pitching that you're going to need for this is a grind over 2 weeks. So can they hold up over that stretch? I don't know, but certainly I'm going to be one of those guys out there watching, and I love a good underdog story, so we'll see.
Everybody does. Everybody does. Now, we also have teams that are looking to add to their trophy case. So guys that have been there before, that have won it all: Oregon State, LSU, Coastal Carolina, and Arizona. Jacob, which team has the best odds to find success this time around?
I really like where Coastal stands going into the College World Series. You just look at the ballpark that they're going to be playing in. Last year, 5.7 runs per game per team in the College World Series field. And like we talked about, that was half SEC, half ACC. So you had the big boys swinging bats there last year. It plays to pitching, and Coastal has that in spades this season. They probably have the best starting rotation, in my opinion, of any remaining team in the field. Jacob Morrison was the Sun Belt Pitcher of the Year. All those guys hovering around ERA ERAs below the line of 3. The worst in the group is 3.2. And so I really like where they stand going into this group. I think that they have a good chance, especially seeing as though they don't have to face the Arkansas or LSUs of the world in the opening pool play. Oregon State is surely a challenge, but I do think that their arms will allow them to go pretty far in this format.
Other teams that we expect to go pretty far in this format, LSU facing Arkansas, top 2 favorites to win the national title, the only 2 teams to emerge to the College World Series out of the SEC, which is kind of shocking there. What are your thoughts, Dave, about these 2 teams kind of meeting at this stage?
Well, I think it's kind of a shame that they got to face each other right out of the gate. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things got to happen to get them in this situation, but to me, I think these might be the 2 most complete teams in the field. I just spent the last 2 weeks in Baton Rouge watching LSU play, and I got to tell you, when they can pitch it the way they pitched it and the way they hit it this past 2 weekends, really tells me that they're probably as complete as Arkansas. That's been the discussion all year. Arkansas might be the best team in the SEC from top to bottom in terms of pitching, defense, and hitting. And Dave Van Horn has put together a great team. I will say this: if LSU continues to hit the baseball the way that they did the last 2 weekends, they would be certainly a team for me to keep an eye on to win their 8th national championship. But Arkansas, Dave Van Horn, man, I say this all the time. We talk about in golf, who's the best player to not win a major, who's the best coach to not win a college baseball national championship. I think you got to start with Dave Van Horn. He's had the opportunities, and maybe this is the one. Maybe this is the one. But I do know this, man, that these are 2 of the premier programs in all of college baseball carrying the flag for the SEC. It's, again, just a shame that they got to meet in game number 1. But I guess to be the best, you got to beat the best at some point. So we'll see how it plays out, but I'm excited to watch that opener.
It's very true. I wish they were facing off against a different team to start things off. But Jacob, do you echo the same sentiments? The Razorbacks aiming for their first College World Series title. They are the favorites to win it all. Do you give them the edge?
I do, but ever so slightly. Arkansas is my favorite to win the whole thing, and I do think that this matchup could very easily produce the overall winner of the tournament. Arkansas has just done a lot for me to, convince that they are the best team in the country. Their pitching has been consistent all season. Zach Root is one of the best aces in the country. Their bullpen has really rounded into form so far. Gabe Gackel was a starter to open the year, and he's kind of found his footing in their bullpen. And then the lineup has been outstanding. Years past, one of the biggest concerns for Arkansas in the postseason was whether or not it was going to hit. That's what eliminated it last year when it made a first-round exit. Now this is a group that is able to score in bunches and in a variety of different ways. They can hit for power, which doesn't always play in Omaha, but they can also hit for average and work guys station to station. So I think that that's a very complete team that has the makings of being able to win it all.
Okay, so Jacob, is that your pick, Arkansas to win it all?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
I really like the Razorbacks.
And Dave, who do you got?
I like LSU. From what I've seen the last 2 weekends, they're starting to hit it as good as anybody in America, and they've got 2 of the best guys on the mound, and Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson, and guys that can throw 100 and 101 in miles per hour in the bullpen. If they can find the strike zone, I don't see why there's any chance or any doubt that LSU has the talent to do this. It's going to be fun. I mean, it's again, LSU and Arkansas in game 1 will probably be a good indication of who might win this thing.
Love it, fellas. Thanks so much. We will be locked into the College World Series. It's always such a fun event to watch on TV as we look at the odds to win it all. Arkansas coming in as the favorite at plus 200 now. They're immediately followed by LSU at plus 230. Because of the bracket, only one of those 2 teams will be able to make it to the championship series. Coastal Carolina has the next best odds at plus 650.